When you do nothing, nothing happens. Best time to take action is now. This is the time to work on you and your business. So I've created a group, an online academy for professionals and entrepreneurs. Power Partners will help you to start helping yourself.
Helped me change my life and my business.
Not a Toastmasters, it's not a BNI, it's not any of these, but it is. So it's all this stuff in one place.
Get the results that you deserve right now. So what are you waiting for? Let's make it happen. See you in Power Partners.
Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully everybody is up, awake, and ready to be surprised, to be, let's just say, just incredibly shocked at this show. And the reason why I say that, because if you don't already know, you are at the Coach's Lounge with Barbara J. Beckley. And what I do at this particular hour is I make sure that I heighten, I give exposure. I make sure that you understand that coaches, educators, and anybody that's really helping people to move to the next needle in their life are spotlighted. And I always was saying, I said, I never seen the show really, unless, there might be out there, because, there's billions of shows, talk shows, TV streaming shows that really focus on giving that little 20, maybe 15, 20 minutes for a coach, for a consultant, for a mentor to talk about what they do for others. Because when you think about it, everybody, if you're in business or even personal life, we all need some help sometime. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. Wish I did, but I don't. And I'll admit it. And I'll say to myself, I need somebody that's to have the expertise in health, or I need somebody expertise in, money and finances. I need an expertise, somebody just in healing or in some emotional, because with all that, you don't know everything. So you bring in the coaches, you bring in the mentors, you bring in the people that are experts, and then you say, you know what, I'm going to pay you, or I'm going to spend some time with you so I can get to where I need to go to the next level. And then one thing about it, just don't hire a coach. Just a little small tip to the side, and then just say, okay, I'm done for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. No, it takes time. It takes time. So this is what this particular show is about, is bringing on some wonderful experts that I have met, that I have I was seeking out. I did. I really was going out there and making sure that I'm bringing in some individuals that you can basically see, I think I need to talk to them. Or you might know somebody. I don't want to give everybody that excuse, say, well, I really don't need that particular coach or that consultant. I'm like, no. You have friends, you have family, you have people that you might know that might need to be, be with that particular individual and talk to them. So I don't want to, time has passed. I want to make sure that I give these wonderful, wonderful 2 individuals that I'm bringing on back to back. Our first one, wonderful. And one thing I'm going to put it out there. When I have women on, I call them queens. And when I have men on, I call them kings. Okay? Because I look at them as royalty. And what we talk about affirmations, very important. So right now, if they're in the green room, the virtual green room, I want them to know that they're royalty. So Justin Maxwell, he's royalty. So give him a lot of love when he comes on the screen. He's basically, okay, if you want a guru, I'm telling you, if you want a guru when you're talking about your finances, tax, strategist, he is the one. This man has been doing this for a while. And you're going to hear a little, because I always ask a little bit of their backstory before they tell us just some tips of what they do. And just reading and looking what he was doing, I was like, wow. I said, I'm so glad that he likes money. He likes dealing with numbers and just dealing with people with that, because I'm not the one. So I would basically reach out and say, please, Justin, I need some help. Especially when it comes, if you're trying to build your wealth, your finances, how you can do that, how you can maneuver in that. It's just not about the numbers, but it's a strategy to it. And I know that Justin helps people with that. So before we bring him on, I always have to make sure we do it right. Because what did I say earlier? their royalty, right? So let me just, after this video, we will begin to meet and get to understand what Justin does for the world as he's being a world changer. Here we go. Hello, Mr. Justin. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you, Barbara, for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, all the time, all the time. So first of all, I want to welcome you to the Coaches Lounge. I really appreciate it. I always tell people when they come on the stage, it's a gift to me, and I know it's a gift to the audience to just get that wealth of knowledge that you have, your expertise, and to share it with us a little bit. So then, you never know what a person needs, especially if you say a tip or a strategy of what you do. So I wanted to ask before we get started, Justin, what kind of, I always like to get the backstory, because people just don't all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is your passion and your, profession. I know something happened in your world where you just said, I want to do this as a life, just a change in the world. So can you give us a little backstory of what you do?
Yeah, so I used to be a school teacher, and I thought I wanted to be a college professor. Like that was the path that I was on. Mm-hmm. When I was doing my master's degree, I discovered that doing that profession wasn't in what I thought it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Because college professors, the majority of them have to do a lot of research. And though I like studying research and diving deep and figuring out how things work and what is the truth behind things and understanding what is the mechanics behind this, the doing of the research was not what I enjoyed doing, and I didn't foresee myself doing that for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. Around at that time, I happened to be exposed to a financial thought leader by the name of Garrett Gunderson. And I had never thought that business, that finance, that helping people with their money, helping people save taxes was anything that I would have enjoyed. But as he was speaking, it just hit me like this is something that it resonates with me at a deep level, more so than I ever would have thought. Because teaching resonates with me, sports and education resonate with me, but business and finance, I never pursued that because I never thought in my head that's going to be something that resonates with me. I enjoy math, I enjoy numbers, but it never resonated with me that was a path that I could pursue. And when he spoke, it opened the door that not only can I pursue it, but I need to pursue this, or at least go down this path to discover how I can be a better value to this world. Because for me, when I chose teaching, it was almost the safe thing to do. And though teachers are very valuable and I could help and I can bring value to the students I was teaching, it wasn't what I needed to do to bring value to this world, if that makes sense. So though it was valuable to the world, I felt like I needed to do more. And so Garrett's words prompted me down a path to find what I could do to bring more value to society, help people find more security, create more certainty, and start fulfilling what they want to fulfill. Because one of the big hurdles for that, we all have these dreams and wants and desires, but money is attached to all of that. Even if you want to go do something, if you haven't figured out how to make money or keep money, there's probably going to be a hurdle there that if you don't know how to get over it, you're never going to reach that. And you're going to be stuck in this world of unsatisfactory living that you don't necessarily want. And so that prompted me on that road, and I eventually ended up where I am now.
Wow. Well, Justin, thank you for sharing that. I always tell people is sometimes we go down one path in our lives, in our career, thinking that that's it. And then you never know what might change this course. So I'm loving that. You start off as, I want to be a professor, I want to be a teacher. This is something that's, grinding me. And then all along that way, that path, you was like, maybe this is not what I really want to do, all the reach, all that kind of stuff. But I love where you jumped in, where you're not just talking about, there's one thing to say, okay, let's talk about money, let's talk about budgeting. But I like what you do, where you have that heart now where you want to help people produce that so they can live a more quality life, either whatever age area where they're in, and understand that, money is really the key, like you said, to kind of maneuver to do things that you want to do in life. So I love how you took that on and just not saying I'm just going to be a person talk about money, but let's strategize. Let's, what do you want to do with your life? You ask those type of questions to your clients and potential people that you talk to.
Yeah, I feel like that's because money is such a huge aspect in our life. And I feel like most of us have a misconception of what it actually is and what it can do for us. Is money everything? No, but the people that chase money like it's everything lose the stuff that matters in life. They don't get to go on vacation as much. Maybe they don't have a significant other anymore because they work so much. They don't care about their kids as much because they're obsessed with making money. So there is a balance to it. But if we can understand that money is just a receipt or evidence that we brought value to the world, and the more value that we can bring to either our employer or to our business means that we are going to get compensated as such. Now, some professions like teachers, for example, there's budgets on how much you can get paid. So you could bring a ton of value and you're not going to get compensated for it. But if you can be creative and find ways to bring value outside of your classroom or outside of your situation, then you can get compensated for the value you bring. It just takes a little bit more effort for some professions. But if we can start viewing money as a receipt of value delivered to the world, and it's just evidence that I did something that someone valued enough to pay me, then we can start changing the game. And then we can start realizing, how can I keep more of this, start migrating it more into other things that bring me fulfillment and bring me joy, whether that's allowing me to change professions or to go have the time to go be more like charitable giving and doing things for the world, or starting a side hustle. But if we don't have the money figured out, typically those things don't happen.
I like what you said, Justin. Well, I like a lot of things that you said, but one thing is it's about mindset. It's like you said, okay, there's the money and we understand that it has to move around so you can do things. But if you don't have the mindset, you're going to keep falling in certain pitfalls in your life, and you keep saying to yourself, well, why is, things are not happening the right way? Why can't I save? Or why do I seem like I consistently buy something or get triggered somewhere where I'm getting this knowing that maybe I shouldn't buy that right now. Maybe I should invest in that. See, there's a lot of, some people, I was there, I'm just going to be totally honest, just a few years ago where I was like, well, what's going on with me? Come to find out I wasn't really thinking of, okay, first of all, I need to think of the future. I need to think of, okay, what's really important. So that mindset has to be there in anything you do, even with money.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the nice things about money is that you can put systems and automations around it so that you don't have to be obsessed with it. It can be happening on the background where you can be delivering what you're meant to deliver. But if you don't have the automation set up, then it becomes like this fight between, I'm worried about my money and I'm worried about what I'm doing here, but you get torn between two places. So if you can create the automations, if you can identify the available options for you, things get easier, so you can focus on delivering more value and helping more people, and just let those things happen on the side ground. Doesn't mean we ignore them, but it's not our focus. The systems allow us to be focused on delivering more value.
Yeah, I always tell people use, delegation, not just individuals. Delegation is technology too. Yep. So if you can use that tool to help you, then you can maneuver and focus on other things that you need to focus on, and let the automation, let the delegation, wherever you're going, people, places, or things, do the job, so you can, be more conscious of what you're doing and focus more on what you need to do. I love that. Well, I want to talk about, because there's two tips I always ask wonderful coaches, consultants, and strategists that come on, discuss some tips that you do. And I know you said the power of automation, like you said, saving and delivery, investing to encounter the plague of unconscious spending. Oof. Yeah. So can you elaborate a little bit on that? That is good.
Yeah. So there's a principle called Parkinson's law. It's not just applicable to finance, but in finance is what happens is, if you asked anyone 5 years ago, are you making more money today than you were 5 years ago? The vast majority of people are going to say yes to that. But the vast majority of people are still living in the same exact situation that they were 5 years ago. And I know that inflation has something to do with that, but a lot of it is that we are in this world that has such easy access to unconscious spending that as our income increases, our expenses are going to rise with that income increase and just match it. Typically, it occurs in at least 6 months or faster. So every time I get a pay raise, every time I increase my income, my expenses are just going to rise right with it. And so all that does is, even though we're 5 years in the future, we're making more money, we're just spending more money. So we can't ever get ahead because we have this thing that just keeps catching up to us where we unconsciously spend and just spend and spend and spend. And it keeps us in the same boat we were 5 years ago, and we can never get ahead. So one method that people can utilize just very simply to counteract this is you create an automation around the way that you pay yourself. So instead of money just falling into your normal checking account, which we would label as the spending account, you put a new checking account or a new account above it. So all money falls into this new account first. And we call this account the wealth reservoir, the wealth capture account, the wealth preserve account. It captures all income. And then out of this account, you're going to set up an automation. You can match it with your typical pay period. If it's twice a month, 3 times a month, once a month, however often you're getting paid, you're going to automatically then send money from the wealth capture account, from the wealth reservoir, into your normal checking account. But you dictate how much that is, and you don't change it. So let's just say we make $5,000 in a month. All 5,000 falls into our wealth reservoir. We create an automation to send 4,500 of it to our checking account. We can now freely, unguiltily spend the money in our checking account, but we captured $500 in savings because it's up there. It's out of our spending. We can't just go get it easily. We can go get it if we need it for an emergency, but it's away from us, and it's unconscious savings. Now we've transformed it into conscious spending. So we've flipped it. Typically, people unconsciously spend and then try to save what's left over. This saves first. I pay myself first, and now I can consciously spend the rest of the dollars any way I want because I've already saved the money. I don't have to budget what's in my checking account. I can just spend it. That's my spending account. And then every month, it's always capturing 500, and it's always sending 4,500 down to the account. But the cool thing is as my income rises, so if I get a raise next year and I'm making 7,000, 7,000 falls to my wealth reservoir, and I still send 4,500 to my checking account, and my savings I just added $2,000 to my savings every month. So my savings accelerated. Now, most people want to increase their lifestyle, so you can just change the automation from 4,500 to 5,000. So you get to increase your cash flow each month, but you didn't go all the way to 7. You controlled how much you get sent to you versus it just unconsciously happening. And the numbers and math on this is pretty extraordinary over like a 10, 20, 30-year period. You'll save far more than the person that's just like taking 10% or saving what's left over. Typically, it's 4 to 5 times more than the average person saves with this automation system. So this is a way for you to get ahead. This is a way for you to start building momentum. You haven't even invested it yet. It's just getting positive momentum with the dollars that you're already making.
I like that. Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. I always heard about, I hear those sayings like pay yourself first before you start having to divvy up, like you have to pay others and do what you have to do with your money. And I know sometime now, I'm just going to ask you this question. Now, having those 2 accounts set up and everything, like you said, automatically falls in one, and then the rest goes into your spending. Now, is there a way, because I know some people, they might just turn around after they spend the spending money and say, well, I know, because in their mind, again, they know they had that 500 or whatever. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Here's one of the things that we have that adds some layer of protection there. Number one is they with this system that because you could set this up any way you wanted. You could do this on your own with just setting up 2 bank accounts, but we have a phone application that comes with a bank account that will, when you try to take more money out, it will say, are you sure that you want to spend this? Are you sure this is something you want to do? So it will add just a layer of thought. In addition to that, it comes with an accountability partner. So like if you're taking out the money every month, like I or someone on our team can see this person keeps taking money out of their reservoir. Do they need to adjust how much because if you don't want to make this where it's like a pressure point. It should be, I can live on the 4,500 and the 500 I don't need. And then the accountability partner can at least ask and say, is there something going on where we need to adjust the automation? Does it need to go up to 4,800 or 4,999? Because the key is not today, it's what happens in 10 years as we increase our income. So when we're starting this system, we could be saving $1 a month. And we've started the habit. We've started the automation and the habit of building this. So don't get discouraged by how much is in there at the beginning. It's the fact that as my income increases, as I increase my ability and impact on the world, more of my reservoir will be captured there and more of the income. So those are the two things that can help against what you just described.
I like that. I like those two things. Like you said, are you sure? Because it's like a little stoplight. Before you start saying you want to take this, are you really sure? Because you know what this is about. And then on top of that, have an accountability partner to say, okay, why are you reaching for this? Maybe we need to look at what the whole process is, what you're saving or the money, and saying what happened. Because, I know things happen in life.
Yeah.
Things come your way where you didn't know, okay, something popped up after months or whatever that you owe, or, things happen in, family situations, whatever, and money is needed. But, even with that, and I know you probably have, because you have a lot of great ideas of even how to handle those emergency situations where you're not taking from your wealth. Like you said, you're not what you're building. There's certain ways to maneuver through that. So you're not taking that money and saying, okay, well, this happened, somebody passed away or whatever, and we had to take this money to deal with this, and then you keep pulling and you're trying to get out of that. But you have to find ways, like you said, strategies, and make sure that that doesn't happen.
Correct. Happen. And this is just the first step. It's just, we got to create the automation so that we can build positive momentum for the future. And then as we start moving forward, we can start adding layers to this, from getting insurances in place, getting the dollars working in other wealth building opportunities so they can start spinning off more money for us. But we first have to be able to save. Most Americans don't save enough money to be able to build any substantial wealth. And the automation piece and saving automatically is the first layer of it. But most people try and skip right to the investing piece without any sort of mechanism for capturing any savings. And so then they're taking unnecessary risk in their investments because they're not saving enough, because they need more money. They know that the projections aren't enough for them, so they take unnecessary risk. If you can save first, get the automation going, then you can take really calculated risk, calculated investments, deliberate investing, and be really in a much safer, more likely to reach your wealth outcomes goals than just jumping straight to investing because that's the sexy thing to do.
Yeah, I like it. It's a sexy thing to do. And it just, then you have to understand, and that's what I had to understand like 5 years ago. It's a process. Like you said, even if you save $1, and I'm not saying, I'm just throwing it out there to say, start the process of it. Not so just don't look at the dollar right that time. Just start the process that, hey, you are saving something. You are putting something somewhere else to make sure that you're building that wealth in the future, instead of saying, dang, I don't know if I can do this, or that's just $1. What's $1 going to do? Well, you know what? If you save $1, I keep telling people, if you do that daily, that does add up. I'm not saying stay there, but at least start the process of it, like you're saying, Justin.
Build the habit, build the muscle, because people think, oh, when I make more money, I can save all of this money. But that's not the case. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, that's why we have the athletes that make millions of dollars, and then in 5 years they're back with everyone else when it comes to where they're at. They're filing bankruptcy. They're just exactly where they were. It's because they didn't have a system for capturing the money that they were making. And then when it's gone, and then you have to start all over.
Yeah. Well, Justin, this has been wonderful. I'm learning and learned so much, and thank you for that tip. I know a lot of our audience is like, wow, sometimes you have that or you thought about it, but you just laid it out in a way where, I feel more comfortable now and really using that muscle, like you said, and trying to save. But what I want to do just for like 30 seconds, I want to take myself down, and I want you to leave any lasting tips or, how they can contact you, and I'll be right back, and then we'll close out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so the biggest tip I would have is that you are your greatest asset. So your ability to bring value to this world is going to be more valuable than anything you can invest in. It's not a stock. It's not a piece of real estate. It's not your business. It's you. So as you learn to keep the money that you're making through automated savings, keeping the money through tax savings, you're going to be able to drive way more value to this world than you would have had you tried to take your money and put it into something you don't understand and shoot for the moon. You are your greatest asset. Create automations because you need the money, not because someone else does. Save taxes because you can do more good with it than the government can do. Plug your money leaks and keep as much, and then drive it back into your value creation, whether that's your business, your ability to be a valuable piece to society, whatever it is in your employment or your business. You are the greatest asset. It's no one else. It's you. Your ability to drive income is better than anyone else. That's why we save money. Well put.
Well put. I'm not going to add nothing to that. All I want to do is ask from you, Justin, how they can contact you.
Yeah. You can. The best way to reach me is just go to www.biglifefinancial.com/TRP. I offer free consultations, and I can see if I can be of assistance. And maybe I just set you up with the automation, or maybe I can do a lot more with you to help you keep more of the money you're making and really strategize with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, Justin, thank you for coming on. You're always welcome back to the Coaches Lounge. If you want to share more of your wealth, or just let us know some more tips, especially when it comes to wealth. And this to remind everybody, it is tax season. It's like this weekend that if you didn't get it together yet. So thank you, Justin, again. And I truly appreciate you. And again, just spotlighting these experts. Justin is one of those experts that I spotlighted today. And please reach out to him if you see building that wealth. Get that help. Like I said before earlier, if you need it, if you're not really understanding, Justin has that leverage that he can help you. And just, you see, he takes you step by step. So thank you again, Justin, and you take care of yourself, and we will see you back, hopefully, at the Coaches Lounge.
Thank you, Barbara. Have a good one.
My body becomes like a cement. Oh my God.
That was the better one.
Okay. Oh my God. It's like magic. Literally, it's like magic.
And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today.
My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
And we are back. I love my Serena. I always tell her she's my sister from Canada. Help Heal Humanity just put a special plug out there because that's one of the organizations I'm a part of as well. I'm one of the board members. And we're trying to help the world. We're trying to heal the world in every way, especially with children that are dealing with, in different countries too, that's dealing with, the education part is not there. We're trying to build that. And also homelessness and just needing food. They need food every day. We sometimes in our mind, and we're here and we're talking about, I'm hungry, and you can just go right to your refrigerator and you get food, or you can just order DoorDash or whatever you do. Well, in these other countries, they can't do that. Sometimes they don't have clean water. And with Serena, and I always call the angel, she goes out there and talks to these people. So showing a lot of love to Serena with that. And I will be bringing her on in the next few weeks too. We're going to be discussing some things of how her organization has been growing and what they're doing in the world. So with that, we're going to get to our next wonderful, wonderful educator, coach, mentor. See, first I was like, you got to say this is the coach's lounge, but then I understand that you have individuals that are just like Justin, strategist in what he does, his profession. Powerful information you gave today. And then you have individuals that I'm coming on right now, Kathi, which OMG, when I read her story, she is a mom, for one. She's an activist. She's the founder and owner of Meth Awareness Alliance. Now, before, and I'm open and I just say what I have to say because we have to be open. I was like, wow, what is that? I said, what is going on? And then after I read her story, she said after experiencing a serious health event, Kathi left her position as a career executive. See, sometimes you have to go beyond the call when things happen in life, and lending and banking to focus on her recovery. And she's going to talk a little bit about that. I don't want to, give you just a little commercial. She decided to rent for her family home to offset medical costs. What's seen as a sensible solution turned into her worst nightmare. And this is where that Toxins Awareness Alliance that she basically created, she's been an advocate and she's been out there talking about this. And it is very, very vital that you really hear what she's saying and understand what's going on. Because after I was reading about it, I was like, OMG. So I'm so glad she's coming on. But like I said, I have royalty. She's a queen. And before she comes on, I have to make sure I do her justice. So we'll be right back after this small break. Hello, lady. Can you hear me okay?
Barbara, I can hear you just fine. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can. You sound powerful, wonderful, and everything else, Queen.
I am very excited and honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, lady. And I just want to dive into it because you are just, there's no words to say. There's no words to say. See, that's why I tell people, I said, that's why you need to get to know and read and research and find individuals like you, because things are happening in the world. And if you keep yourself isolated and everything, you never know what you might be missing or something that might be hazardous to you that you need to understand because other individuals dealt with that and have an advocate for it. So, Kathi, I just want you to jump in how it all started and then let us know, give us the education of it.
Sure. And I can truly appreciate the conversation briefly that you had with Justin. It resonated with me where, you're on one path, and next thing you know, in my situation, uh, I can't sugarcoat it. It has not been an easy journey, but sometimes the path finds you versus you choose a path, and so that's what's happened. And the brief cliff notes is I did have a serious health occurrence in early 2016, and then when my youngest went off to college in 2018, I chose to temporarily rent out our family home in the foothills west of Denver in Evergreen, Colorado. Beautiful little community. And what seemed like a sensible solution did turn into my worst nightmare. I went off to work on my next chapter, and I used my largest asset, my home, to what I thought would be that solution, leverage it, rent it out temporarily while I offset some significant medical expenses that I had, and my next chapter. And I used a management company, put what I thought were all the right protections in place with insurance, and asking all the right questions, and vetting the right people. And within 90 days of this management company putting a tenant in my home, I learned that he consumed and manufactured methamphetamine and literally destroyed the home.
Oh. Oh.
That put me on I climbed 100 huge hurdles, especially in those first 100 plus days. It's been over 4.5 years since that original impact, so to speak. And it took me on a journey to learn not only what methamphetamine does, not only when it's manufactured in a property, but when it's consumed. And then the journey that I had, where I did learn about that our insurances may not, most likely do not cover it, especially under residential real estate. The journey through the judicial process, the civil judicial process, I navigated a criminal process with the tenant, and all the steps in between. And it's through that education that I founded Meth Toxins Awareness Alliance as a way to bring awareness and education, and then also advocacy, resources, and ultimately has taken me to step into, I guess, channeling my Aaron Brockovich a little bit, where we're working on some legislation here in Colorado, and I hope it doesn't stop there.
Wow, powerful superwoman. I love when you said Aaron, because I was thinking about that movie when you were talking about what you went through. I said, wow, she's like another Aaron.
Well, I'm inspired by that. I've probably seen the movie another 30 times, and I continue to learn and follow her in the significant platform that she has, and has had and continues to have, and it does inspire me.
Yes. And I love what you said, Queen, about sometimes the path in your life basically finds you instead of you really finding it. I mean, sometimes we stumble, or I want to say, or just something happens, and it's like all of a sudden it changes your whole world to another direction where you didn't know you were even going to go. And then you find out now, and it brings out, seems like a lot of times it brings out more what you didn't even think that you could do. And it surprises even yourself to say, wow, 1 minute I was doing this in my life, my career. Now with this happening, which was and I'm sorry that happened when your family, in the house with that. But then now you're this advocate, you're this voice for others. I mean,
right.
Changing laws. I mean, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Right. Well, what I learned is I spent over 30 years in a career in lending, mostly residential, and then the last 10 years in banking, which included a lot of commercial lending and other areas of finance. And I'm here to say, on my own personal real estate path in the homes that I've purchased, as well as literally the thousands of transactions I've been involved in some level. I had never heard about meth toxins in real estate, and so I knew that this really needed to be brought to the forefront for awareness. I reached out to individuals that were experts in the industry of testing and remediation. There was education at that level, but it was really not out there in the public. And I learned that their education, as good as it is, and the science behind it, didn't really cover prevention ahead of time. And so that's where I continue to charge on that path of real education through a preventative path of opportunity of learning tips and tools and resources.
Yes. Now, Queen, can you explain a little, because some of our audience might not understand about what that is, the meth toxin? Can you explain what it does?
Well, Meth Toxins Awareness Alliance is basically an organization of social impact that I founded. It follows 3 pillars of focus through education, resources, advocacy, and that legislative advocacy, that piece that I talked about. I'm growing it as I go, and I have recently just launched an accredited course here in the state of Colorado, where real estate and property management professionals under our division of real estate can receive accredited course accreditation for their licensing. But it's also a course that I'm launching just out into the public, literally nationally and eventually even globally, where people can just learn about the ways they can help prevent impact through their own journeys, whether they're investors and they have a small versus even a larger portfolio of real estate, or the individual homeowner like me, who gets impacted. But in this case, it was an individual tenant. So.
Yeah. I just, just thinking about it, I could just imagine what, when you first dealt with that, of like, oh, what do I even do? Because I'm just thinking about myself. I don't even understand what this meth, I didn't understand what it is. And then to come across it, I wouldn't even know if, how it's contaminating my building.
Well, let me give you just a brief summary. What I learned is meth usage is at epidemic levels. Similar to some of those other drugs that we've heard about, the opioid addictions and even fentanyl, which are both catastrophic. Situations that are going on within our society, literally, locally, statewide, nationally, and even globally. And people are dying. But one of the things that I learned about methamphetamine is that when it's either consumed by smoking it, or manufactured, it leaves a residue. It's a kind of a petroleum-based product, and it leaves a very sticky residue. So when you smoke it, you exhale it like cigarette smoke, the nicotine, it gets airborne. And then it just gets into the nooks and crannies of any structure that it's in, or any enclosed space that it's in, even a vehicle or some other closed space, and it stays there. It does not dissipate over time, and there is a toxic residue that is very impactful to our health. And there are individuals that are more susceptible depending upon the level of contamination. And only half of our states even have any laws or any regulations around methamphetamine contamination. And it's not until it's tested to actually measure those levels of residue, whether you even know that you have a situation or not. It's invisible. You can't really smell it. You can't see it. You can't necessarily feel it. But especially our children, people like me who are, have some sort of health issue, immune compromised, or are elderly, we're all really susceptible depending upon the level of contamination. And I'm here to bring that awareness. And then if somebody has residue in their home, unknowingly, it may be affecting the health of their family members themselves or their loved ones. Or when they go to sell their property, somebody else decides to come in and test for it because they've learned about it, and then all of a sudden they find out that their property is contaminated, and they will maybe find that their insurances aren't there, don't have the ability, don't have those endorsement. There's no endorsement or any coverage to help mitigate and remediate the contamination, and it can be financially devastating.
Wow, Kathi. I'm just thinking, if anybody's buying a home or whatever, they need to really, like you say, you're giving this awareness to us of checking that out, because that could be, like you said, hazardous in every type of way in your life.
It can be, and I basically, just have one simple statement. I've even learned that past does not always mean that it's gone. In the way testing is done and the remediation process, it's not a perfect science. As much as that industry is working hard to improve the process, and so just test before you buy it. If you find the property that you want, even if it's commercial or residential, if it's a single family, if it's a multi-unit building or anything in between, just test before you buy, so you don't get jammed up in the process, in the situation that could happen if it turned out that there was contamination.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen, for leaving that. So, Queen, what I want to do is I want to take myself down for 30 seconds. I want you lasting thoughts for the audience, because this is good. This is good information to know. And I'll be back so we can close out and they can have a way to contact you.
Sounds great.
Okay, so yeah, you can just leave any thoughts that you have, and I'll be right back. Uh-oh, did you hear me okay? Kathi, can you hear me?
I heard you great. So a few lasting thoughts is that I have learned that there are no socioeconomic or geographical boundaries when it comes to meth contamination. It's not a inner city, high crime, low income situation. It can happen anywhere. The judicial process is hard as they try. It can be an illusion of protection. I highly recommend that you reach out to your insurance providers, your agents, your carriers, your underwriters, and go deep into the conversations of what is covered and what is not covered. And if you are a property owner with multi-unit properties and you're using a management company, that you have very, very strong conversations about the expectations and the scope of the roles and responsibilities, and that all these things be put into writing, and that you vet your property management company as well as the tenants and review the documentation, and ultimately have decision-making process or decision-making in who is actually put into the properties that you own, and ultimately test before you buy.
Amazing. Thank you, Queen, so much. So much good information, and information, like I said, that I didn't even understand. And please keep an open mind when it comes to things that's happening, because look at this Queen Kathi. She has basically an advocate. She's an educator that she found this awareness alliance for us to understand about the meth toxins that can be happening right around in your world, and you don't even know it. Like Kathi said, you can't smell it, you can't take it, and that's really troublesome. You have to think about that. So if you don't know, you don't know. But when you know, like Kathi told us today, then you have the responsibility to yourself to say, okay, let me carry on and make sure that my surroundings, not just yourself, but now you can tell other people. And that's one of the reasons why I love bringing on the wonderful experts. Yes, lady. So Kathi, thank you so much. You gave me a gift today, and I want you to know that you're always welcome to come back to the Coaches Lounge if there's any other insight that you have regarding this, because I know this is something that I feel like a lot of people don't know or don't really know.
Absolutely. I've learned so much. I think it's important, and I really wish I would have said this on camera, but it's really important that not only that we, protect for our health and our wealth today, but that legacy carries on to, the family members, generations to come. It was financially a devastating process for my own, for me and my own family that I'm still navigating. And that's what potentially these laws will help leave additional legacies and preventative protections and preventions for future generations. And so I'd love the opportunity as I continue to make progress here to share those additional tips and tools. And so thank you for having me. This has been a gift to me as well, Barbara. I am so grateful to you and for bringing this subject top of mind. So.
Yes. Believe me, you are always welcome back. I would love for you to come back and give more information and just keep us aware of what's going on. What you're doing, you're making more changes within this whole thing that, like you said, just came in your world. But basically now you're just being this advocate, this educator, helping us. So you're that lighthouse to the world, like I tell people a lot of times. You're a world changer. And I want you to remember that. And I want you to always know that you have a home here to come back to and just, share your wealth with us.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. You're up in Wisconsin, way up north, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I can't believe we have 70-degree weather right now. So I'm, keeping.
Spring is in the air, no doubt. And tell me how I can advocate best for you. I mean, finding you through that post that you did was great, and I've joined to subscribe on your channel. I've shared my information with my own tribe and my communities. I know people will want to watch the video, and then I am. I have mentors and people in my world that have just, embraced me and walked me through this journey and helped teach me how to do what I'm doing now. This is totally something I wouldn't have never imagined, being on a channel like this and having these kind of conversations. So if I were to have a couple of those people reach out to you, that would be okay, because I'm happy to say that I have phenomenal people in my life that are, helping me get comfortable in my skin in this situation. So thank you. And now I feel like I've made a new friend with you, and I want to do whatever I can to support you and the Coaches Lounge. I know some really amazing coaches, so thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, please bring them on. This is their spot. This is their home right here. I want to make sure that people get to know who they are, what they're doing in the world, and helping other people, because that's what it's all about. And I feel like there's not a platform for that too much. So yes, bring them on.
There isn't. I have one of my dearest friends. She comes from aerospace, and she is really working with young girls with STEAM. That's STEM with the arts. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And she's mentoring young women. And another dear friend who is really changing the health insurance industry and the way that we look at that and whatnot. So two really huge mentors and more. So do I make the personal introduction over email or just send them? Yeah. Okay.
No, just send the email to me.
Yeah, I will.
Introduction, and we can get them on the show. I would love to have them. Yes, always looking for guests, always looking for coaches and those mentors and educators like yourself.
I see that. And please let me know if you're ever in Colorado. I would be honored to show you around. Have you ever been to the Rocky Mountain region at all in the past?
I have not, but I have friends that want to move there. So if they're thinking about moving there, I know I have to get out there and see, because they keep telling me it's wonderful out there.
Well, it is wonderful. If they need any sort of just advice, or I've been here, 28 years now. So I, got a chance to raise my kids here, and I'm a Midwest girl originally myself from Ohio. So anyway, I would, anything I could do to help your tribe would be a blessing. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Gave me the gift. I appreciate it so much, Kathi.
Thank you.
Let me quickly let them know how they can contact you.
Yes, the best way to reach me is possibly through my website, methtoxinsalliance.com, or my email address, Kathi, K with an I, Kathi, at methtoxinsalliance.com.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Kathi. I know we'll be seeing you more and more on the Coaches Lounge. Please keep doing what you're doing. You are super, super, super. And I just totally, you're amazing to me. And like I said, please just keep educating us on what's going on, because we really need to know that. So thank you, everybody. We're spotlighting the experts today. Kathi, reach out to her. She gave her information. If you didn't remember, just reach out to me and I'll reach out to Kathi. Everybody take care and have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed weekend.